And today we're doing another request. This one is from Blue Cameron 33, and they basically wanted me to look at anything that wasn't kaiju related. They wanted me to do anything really that I wanted to that was outside of this genre. So it got me thinking, and I had an idea to actually revisit an older video I did back on the cjcuypers Productions channel in terms of video games, and this was basically talking about some forgotten video games. So these are games that, aren't really always celebrated. They're not really genre-defining masterpieces, but about these unique and quirky or just plain awesome games from the past, I just feel like they don't get enough love or recognition they deserve anymore. So that's exactly what I wanted to talk about today for this request. And this really isn't a top 10 list or anything, it's really just me discussing these games. So to kick off with a bang, here is Bullet Witch. Hailing from the Xbox 360 era, this game introduced us to a total badass witch wielding a ridiculously oversized shape-shifting gun. Yes, the graphics might not be cutting edge even then, and the narrative leaned heavily into B-movie territory, but the sheer unadulterated fun of combining magical abilities with massive firepower was addictive. It even saw a PC release later on, which is awesome on Steam. But sadly, it never quite broke into the mainstream. So if you're craving some over-the-top action with a unique protagonist, Bullet Witch is worth seeking out. Next up, prepare for a hilarious perspective shift with Stubbs the Zombie in Rebel Without a Pulse. Released on the original Xbox, this absolute gem lets you step into the decaying shoes of the zombie. Instead of surviving the apocalypse, here you are actually creating the apocalypse, chowing down on brains and building your own undead horde. The witty humor and the novelty of playing as the monster were incredibly refreshing for the time. And what's even better is recently, this game got re-released on, I believe, all modern platforms. So if you want to get into some zombie action, this game is really for you. Sticking with the original Xbox for a moment, I absolutely have to shine a light on Rootech Invasion. It's a part of a well-loved franchise that I'm not too familiar with, but this game genuinely surprised me with its surprisingly dark and mature tone, and a compelling storyline, and characters that I actually became invested in. The gameplay was more than solid, and the soundtrack, oh man, the music in this game was truly exceptional. It's a real tragedy that this title is essentially locked away on older hardware with no modern re-release in sight. It's a significant piece of Rootech universe that deserves to be experienced by a wider audience. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to go track some older consoles or try and emulate it. Now let's brace ourselves for a serious challenge with Otagi Myth of Demons, another unique title from the original Xbox. This game was, well, let's just say it didn't hold your hand. Set in a beautifully realized mythical Japan, it offered a level of difficulty that was almost unheard of at the time. In fact, I believe this game was made by the guys who eventually would go on to make the Dark Souls series. Its distinct atmosphere and steep learning curve likely kept it from achieving mainstream success back then, although nowadays it would fit perfectly with all of those Souls-like games. And for those who relish a true test of skill and patience, Otagi is a forgotten gauntlet worth throwing yourself into. So here's a game that'll make you feel ancient if you know what it is. Let's journey back to the Nintendo 64 with the wonderfully bizarre Body Harvest. Often cited as one of the earliest examples of an open world, or at least open sandbox experience, Body Harvest presented a seemingly simple premise. Aliens invade, you're the last hope to save humanity across multiple sprawling environments. But the unsettling atmosphere, particularly that genuinely terrifying intro cinematic, has stayed with me for years. It was a truly revolutionary game for its time, and the potential for a modern remaster is something I would love to get into. Alright, let's crank up the absurdity with MDK2. Do any of you have any idea what MDK is? While the first MDK has aged a bit, the sequel on PC and even PS2 took the what if factor to a whole new level. Playing as the guy with a ridiculously large arm mountain gun, a heavily armed talking dog, and a mad scientist, it was pure unadulterated comic book craziness. The gameplay was fast, loud, and unapologetically over the top. It's the kind of game you just have to experience to believe. Thankfully, MDK2 is still playable on modern systems, at least I know of it on Steam, so there's no excuse to miss this bizarre ride. Let's shift gears to something a bit more atmospheric and genuinely groundbreaking. F.E.A.R. Released in the 7th generation of gaming, F.E.A.R. masterfully blended horror and John Woo-style action, but what truly set it apart was its incredible AI. Enemies would actively hunt you down, flush you out of cover, and genuinely try to survive from you. Even today, the AI in F.E.A.R. is something to behold. Coupled with genuinely unsettling horror elements and spectacular gameplay, F.E.A.R. was ahead of its time and deserves far more recognition. And a remaster or something. Feeling like unleashing some serious firepower against hordes of enemies? Then you might remember Painkiller. Think of it as a darker, more hellish take on the Serious Sam formula. You play as Heaven's Hitman, tasked with mowing down legions of demonic forces. The story takes a backseat to the intense, non-stop action and the sheer variety of insane weaponry. If you're looking for pure, unadulterated demon-slaying fun and you can't really get into Doom, Painkiller delivers in spades. And there's a new game coming out very soon. Now, in the gaming scene, zombie fatigue is definitely happening. But there's one zombie game I hold a special fondness for, and I've talked about it many times: Land of the Dead: Road to Fiddler's Green. Based on the John Romero's movie, this original Xbox and PC title was, well, it was rough around the edges and critically panned upon release. However, for my younger self, there was something undeniably fun about its simple yet straightforward zombie slaying action. Maybe it was the limited game library that I had at the time, or maybe it was just the cheese charm, but I have a real soft spot for this one, and I would love to see it get a second chance with a remake or remaster or something. Let's delve into another gem from the 6th generation on both PS2 and original Xbox, Arena 51. Much like Land of the Dead, this game was just pure unadulterated fun. Playing as a soldier investigating the infamous Area 51, things quickly go haywire with aliens and a deadly infection running rampant. It was a crazy blend of action and horror, a first-person shooter that didn't take itself too seriously. In a way, it feels like an older, more arcadey precursor to the kind of intense action horror found in F.E.A.R. If you're a fan of sci-fi horror with a healthy dose of over-the-top action, Area 51 is a blast from the past. Alright, well, I want to thank Blue Cameron for the request, and thank you to everyone watching. So there are a look at some of the incredible video game gems that time seems to have unfairly overlooked. So what do you guys think? Did any of these games spark some memories? Are there any forgotten games that you want to see remade or whatever? Post that in the comments below. I would love to read them. And that's all I got for you guys today. And as always, stay big G fans.